I never met Grace Davies, the widow of Elam Davies, the former pastor at Fourth Presbyterian Church. But near the end of her life, she was dying of cancer and then caught pneumonia. When she recovered from the pneumonia, friends from Fourth called to congratulate her. She was touched, they called, but near the end of those conversations, she felt the need to remind them that, of course, I'm still dying from the cancer. Sometimes you have to be thankful for the clouds in order to experience the silver lining. Welcome. Welcome to Sunday Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Sunday Coffee Hour, we talk about everything and nothing. This week, the topics were alternative intelligence, loving ourselves, how transgenderism is an epidemic among teenage girls, asking who wears the pants in that marriage, dangerous colors, and how even Joe Namath used to wear ladies' pantyhose. The readings today at Washington National Cathedral were from Hosea. He will bind us and strike us down, and on the third day, raise us up again. And from Romans, where there is no law, there is no violation. God is love through grace. If there is no law and no violation, then there's no need for God and no need for grace. At Washington National Cathedral today, the sermon was by former Dean of Canterbury Cathedral, the Reverend Robert Willis. He preached about doing a new thing. God has made a covenant with man, but humanity has never fully responded. When we see something new happening in ourselves, that can be a way of seeing a new thing. It often has less to do with us and more to do with God because of us. At St. James Cathedral, Lisa preached about entering the cathedral space. She said, we enter the sanctuary space to touch the hem of Christ. We are being called to be here, and hearing the call means we're already in the place because we've crossed the threshold without even knowing it. This is how God works, not through us, in spite of us, for or against us, but because of us. He binds us up, strikes us down, and raises us up again. We used to hear a lot about the American dream and lifting people up, but not so much anymore. In marketing, we used to hear about the aspirational marketing model, inviting people in at an opening price point. But through the inflation of cultural norms today, we've all seen prices go way up. We often have to just pull the idea off the shelf at the grocery store, look at the price, and then put it back again because the price is just way too high. And what is that price? Basically, it's the difference between being accepted and being loved. Replacing love with being accepted is the premise of getting rid of God in our time. And that's why people naturally balk at it. It's hard to articulate, and it's really, really unfashionable. The church has swallowed it hook, line, and sinker, and that's morally reprehensible. There is a difference between gender and sexuality, and also a difference between being accepted and being loved. Why would you want to force me to accept you instead of loving you? Without the law, there's no transgression. And without transgression, there's no need for grace. And without grace, no love. Forcing people to accept through shame, guilt, and ridicule is getting rid of the love. And that's what's so ungodly about it all. We intuitively balk at it, even though none of us can articulate it. Christ didn't have his own colors. All he had was bread and wine, and later, the symbol of a fish. It was things everyone could relate to. And to the best of my knowledge, Christ never waved a flag or asked that one be plastered all over Michigan Avenue. They removed the American flag from the sanctuary years ago because they said it was just too crowded there. But there seems to be plenty of space now all over the place for whatever might be fashionable at any given moment. And where's the God in that? At the Place Vendôme in Paris, they had a giant butt plug sculpture on display, much to the dismay of Parisians. But at least it was artful and well done. There's a difference between speaking to a particular culture, being countercultural, or treading on a culture. Somehow the church got into the business of telling us we're good people if we believe and accept whatever is fashionable or politically expedient at the moment. When we're accepting instead of loving, then there's probably something else going on. When did diversity turn into equity? None of us can be less enough of ourselves to make enough space for everyone else to be less enough of themselves. But that's exactly what's going on here. It's a race to the bottom, defining people by the lowest common denominator: gender, sexuality, and race. On one of Grace Davies' last visits to Fourth Pres, she was pleased to see how the ivy had been allowed to grow back on the building because it was so beautiful. Wherever there is beauty, there's often God, whether we pursue it or not. If we're listening, we can hear it. And if we have vision, we can see it. And even if we don't, it's still there. At the coronation of King Charles, the charge was given to Charles to lift up everything that was good and to amend what is wrong in the world. I never met Grace Davies, and I'm not a big fan of King Charles, but I can follow a good model. And that doesn't require any of us to be anything less or anything other than who we are. If you would like to join us at Sunday Coffee Hour is every Sunday at 12 noon Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.